Okay, this video, our short presentation, we're just going to be discussing the process of putting on muscle mass. Now, this can either be for someone who wants to bodybuild, get bigger, someone who wants to get bigger for sporting reasons, or someone who, as a lifter, wants to put on mass to become stronger. Regardless of the goal for wanting to put on muscle mass, the process that you need to go through is the same. So what we're going to do in this presentation, we're just going to bring it down to the actionable basics that you need to make sure you're doing, put it in a format so you can apply a framework. I'm not going to go through actually detailing like a diet plan. Well, we will have a diet plan, but I'm not going to sit and spoon feed you how you do it. I'm just going to give you the understandings around the concepts that you need to understand, and then some tools that you can then take away to set up your own kind of plan to put on mass. This is all going to be on the nutrition side of things. We're not going to touch the training side. So it's purely just like a nutritional talk. There we go. Okay, so the concepts we're going to be discussing during this talk is going to be determining the energy balance that you need to find and maintain on a daily basis. Finding a sustainable intake that creates an increase in mass. So we're not trying to work out your maintenance calories at 500 and that's it. It will develop as you become more active potentially, or as you become bigger and put on size, your calorie needs will adjust. So it's a dynamic thing that we will adjust with time. We're going to talk about ensuring you have sufficient protein intake. The most important thing is setting up your dietary foundation, your habit set. We'll talk probably most about that. And then at the end, we'll talk about creating feedback systems that makes this a dynamic system. So we're not just setting a calorie target and macros and that's it forever. We're constantly reviewing, constantly looking over what we're doing on a weekly, monthly basis to make sure that we're tracking in the right direction. And if we aren't tracking in the right direction, what we do about that. So first of all, energy balance, very simple topic. So whether you want to gain or lose weight, this is something you need to ascertain or be wary of. So the first thing is your BMR, which is your basic metabolic rate. We're going to look at a website for this. I'll hopefully have this up. Okay, so the easiest thing to do for this is probably to just go ahead and look at a website like this minitools.org, handy BMR, and you'll see that there are calculations for this you can find easily online, but basically you need your height, your weight, your age, and your gender. And that's either in metric, so centimeters and kilos, or imperial, so pounds and feet and inches. That will then give you your basic metabolic rates. And then once you find that, you then need to times it by your activity level. It's the Harris-Benedict formula. For most people, if you have like an office job and you train 3-4 times a week, it's going to be about 1.4 times your BMR. If you're more active, a full-time athlete or something like that, then you'll get a higher value for those. So this is basically the foundation. So you have a number to base off, start with, because it'll be relatively abstract for a lot of people, especially if you're new to this. And then you need to know what that looks like on a daily basis. So you'll have to track your calories for a while, for a week, a month, a year, until you're fairly confident that you know what calories are in foods, and then you have a calorie target and a protein target, and then you go about trying to meet that on a day-to-day basis and use a tool like MyFitnessPal on a smartphone to track that. It's a process you need to go through if you haven't done before, because you need to understand the process. So once we have our basal metabolic rate and our Harris-Benedict adapted value, once we have our maintenance calories, we then need to create a surplus because we can't gain weight at maintenance or in a deficit. So we need to ensure we are in a surplus. Pretty simple topic. You're not a unicorn case. You don't break the law of thermodynamics. Some people, I just put this in as an illustration. Some people have overactive thyroids. In the UK, data suggests 1 in 50, so about 2% per female population. That is skewed older. So if you're over 60, over 70, there's much higher rates. 40-year-olds, lesser rates. 30-year-olds, lesser rates. 20-year-olds, lesser rates. So on and so forth. If you're between the ages of 18 to 30, the chances of you having hyperthyroidism as a female are vanishingly small. As a man, even more so, even more vanishingly small. Women, in terms of hyperthyroidism, are 6 times more likely than men, or than women. Women are 6 times more likely to have an overactive thyroid than men. So if you're a man, you're even more vanishingly small chance of having a medical issue like that. And as I said in the slide, if you have a genuine medical concern, you shouldn't be watching me talking about dietary or nutrition needs. You should speak to your doctor, dietetics, or a professional, not some guy discussing it on a PowerPoint spreadsheet. To create a calorie surplus, you need to ascertain your maintenance levels, which we've discussed. You need to eat above those levels habitually day by day. So this is a net effort. So you can be up by 300 calories 5 days a week, and then under by 1,000 2 days a week, and then you're in a deficit for the week, and you might lose weight. So it's a daily thing. It is an aggregate effort. So if you're over by 1,000 on one day and then under by 200 on one day, you're going to be in a surplus. You're going to be tracking. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same surplus every day. It's just easier to kind of parse it out. You can use kind of dietary cycling if that's something you want to do. We're not going to talk about things like that because they're minutiae really, but for some people, in some circumstances, cycling can work. Maybe you want a higher calorie intake on training days and a lower calorie intake on rest days. That's up to you. Those are valid strategies. They're a bit more kind of in the weeds and maybe not necessarily a bit more advanced, but a bit more nuanced for people who are a bit further on the process. And then what you really need is you need to confirm this using feedback loops there into the system, feedback loops into the system. And we'll talk about those towards the end. Ideally, you don't want to get fat. That's not the goal. Bulking is not the process of getting fat. Because we're trying to put on muscle mass, and putting on muscle mass is a slow and gradual process. We are looking for gradual weight gain. So again, this is arbitrary, but if you aim for 0.25 to 0.5% per week gain, that's a good place to be in. So if you're weekly as a 100-kilo man gaining 250 grams or 500 grams a week, 500 grams a week is maybe a little bit fast. As a beginner or someone who's starting this process, faster gain might be okay. But just as a general rule of thumb, a weekly increase of a quarter or 1/2 of 1% is not a bad place to start. It's not set, this is not set in stone. You might even want to be slower than that. You might want to be faster than that, depending on your goals. The faster you go, the more weight you gain quickly, the more fat you will gain. The slower and more gradual you do it, as long as you're pairing it with getting stronger, the more certain you can be that what you're putting on is muscle mass. And then at the end of the day, the goal, whether it's for aesthetics or it's for performance or it's for health or for whatever the reason, muscle mass is the goal. Fat mass isn't necessarily the goal. So once we've taken in enough calories and we're hitting our calorie target and we're gaining weight, to try and help us to put on muscle mass, we want to make sure that we are getting sufficient protein intake. So there's a whole bunch of literature on this. You can go and look at it if you want. Use protein tracer studies or nitrogen balance with food diaries. Most nutritional organizations or sports nutrition organizations for strength power athletes or athletes in general recommend between 1.4 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So if you're in that band, pretty much bang on. I would probably advocate towards the top end of that band if you're either trying to lose weight or trying to gain muscle. Counterintuitively, if you're trying to gain muscle, you can actually be kind of towards the bottom of that band, and it necessarily negatively affects what you're trying to do. If you're trying to lose weight, you really need to make sure you're the upper end or even above that band to try and preserve muscle mass. When you're in calorie surplus, your body's not gonna get rid of muscle. It's not gonna try and burn muscle as energy. So you're gonna keep the muscle you have. What we're trying to do is we're trying to gain new muscle. So the calorie intake's the important variable there. The protein intake is important. So we want to make sure we're in a good range, but we don't have to be militantly at 2.2 grams per kilo. We can be in between those values. It's not really much sweat. Calories are kind of the more important thing. As long as we are in that band, if we're in that band, we should be in good stead. In an ideal scenario, we want a regular protein intake. So every 2 to 3 hours, a protein ingestion or bolus or a meal will help to keep the amino acids, that is the constituent points or the constituent parts of the protein in the blood, which allows tissues that are repairing muscle in this case to pull from your bloodstream amino acids. It helps it keep muscle protein synthesis positive or elevated, and muscle protein synthesis is the anabolic process of building muscle. So if we have two people, both with the same genetics, so two exact twins, with the same training, everything's the same. The only thing they do differently is one maybe takes a protein in as one massive meal a day, maybe doing intermittent fasting, one meal a day, one feeding window, and then his identical twin or her identical twin spreads it out over the day every 2 to 3 hours, with the same calorie intake and everything's the same. The person who spreads it out should gain more muscle mass. They should get a better outcome because it's more optimal. So it's something we should look at, look to do if we can. If we can't do it for whatever reason, it's just not practical. It's not really. It's not make or break. It's just an optimal thing to do. As long as we're getting in enough calories, we're doing the training. We're getting in enough protein. We will still achieve our goals. If we're able to optimize what we're doing, we might achieve our goals a little bit faster, or we might achieve better results. So it's an optimal thing. It's not make or break. If you have any dietary requirements, like you're a vegetarian or vegan, you should look up and understand the bioavailability of protein. So not all protein sources are created equal. Milk protein has a much higher bioavailability than something like the protein inside of broccoli, for instance. If you ingest whey protein, your body is going to be able to utilize the vast majority of the amino acids in that source. Using something like broccoli, less so. There are much better sources as a vegetarian or a vegan, things like soy, legumes, kidney beans, chickpeas. They all have much higher content and a much higher bioavailability. So it's knowing what you can eat within your dietary requirements. What's a better source and then little tricks like adding leucine to the supplementing leucine with something like chickpeas or a soy will increase the bioavailability of that source, thus making it a higher quality protein feed. So understanding things like that, if you have dietary requirements, are important and part of your protein intake, and understanding that part of that process. So once we kind of understand those kind of two key factors, calorie surplus, protein intake, then we need to go about actually creating a diet or starting this process. So by far the most important thing is the habit formation. So you will either fail or succeed based off your habits. So if you aren't habitually eating enough calories, you aren't habitually eating enough protein, you aren't habitually training, you will not see results. It's that simple. You do the work, you get the results. You don't do the work, you don't get the results. It's that simple. Kind of like the rub with dietary interventions and why it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, essentially, is that they're a systemic endeavor. You either do the work, you create the surplus, you create the deficit, depending on whatever your goal is. You eat enough protein, you do the training, you train with enough intensity, great progression, you get stronger. Either you do the work and see the results, or you don't. Training is a lot easier because you only show up 4 times a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, whatever. You go to the gym, you do your workout, you try and increase your performance from the last time, and that's it. Whereas like dietary interventions are 24/7. They're with you all the time. Something you need to be wary of whenever you eat. You need to make sure that you're setting up an environment where you not only you're not setting up an environment where you might succeed. You need to set up an environment where you will succeed. That's the kind of the environmental factor, and that's all about reducing the friction, the dietary friction in your life. The number one thing you should do when you set out your plan is to remove the friction points. First thing, plan your week. Know what you're going to be eating, when you're going to be eating it. Monday through to Friday, it can be as strict as you want. Saturday, Sunday, it can be less strict. It can be strict the whole time. You can have maybe a less strict period on a Wednesday. Maybe you're going to lunch with a friend or family on a Wednesday afternoon. So maybe you take some of the freedom you maybe have on a weekend and put it in that stage, or you just go, fuck it, Wednesday is just going to be what Wednesday's going to be. I'm not going to stress it. I'm just going to go and go with it, and then I'll get back on plan Wednesday night, Thursday. It's just knowing what's coming up, planning for it, and then potentially you can take mitigating factors for that. So for this, for example, maybe we go for that Wednesday morning. You're going for brunch with the family, and you're just gonna maybe you go to a place that doesn't do proper food. Maybe it just does like cake and whatever. Maybe you have a donut and coffee, and then you don't get a chance to eat the rest of that day. You don't sweat it. You just eat more later. Maybe you have more snacks available. Maybe you have a snack available during the trip. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's like, fuck it, Wednesday is what it is. Now I'm just gonna get back on plan Wednesday night, continue as if it never happened. So planning just allows you to take action, or to have steps in place, if you need them, to kind of not rescue, but to keep you on track as much as possible. Or maybe that you're going to be off plan for a day, 3 days, a week, or whatever, and it's just happening, and it's happening, and that's cool. You're not stressing it. It comes, it happens, and you're back on song. It's just knowing what's happening, when it's happening, so that you are going to stay with it. For example, if maybe you're on a business trip and you don't know what the food's going to be like, you bring protein supplements with you. You bring whey protein with you. You bring protein bars with you. You bring whatever you need to bring with you to ensure that your protein is elevated, and then you make up the calories as best you can when you're away. Or just the day-to-day boring shit. You know what your breakfast is going to be, what you need for breakfast is in the kitchen when you go to make it. Maybe the breakfast is even pre-made, maybe it's overnight oats or something. Your lunches are either pre-made or you have everything you need to make your lunch. Your dinners, you know what you're making. You have the stuff already done. It's the weekly shops. It's the meal plan. It's being prepped. So you know what you're doing 90% of the week. You don't make any excuses. You just get on with it. Excuses are fucking useless. They're pointless. Either you do it or you don't, and you'll get what you deserve. Basically, how it works. You do it, you get the results you want. Everyone's happy. You don't do it, you don't get the results. You don't achieve your goals. Don't be surprised if that happens if you're fucking off and you're not doing the work. Don't do the work, don't get the result. Do the work, get the result. It's that simple. Meal prep ahead of time just makes life easier. You can meal prep if you want. Most people do, I think, or have some element of it. I personally will just eat the same shit at breakfast. Keep it easy. Oats is a good one. Put it up on Instagram today. Lunches are normally leftovers, or I'll buy them separately from the weekly shop. Dinners are just whatever the family's eating. We tend to eat, we eat as a family a protein source, carbs, veg. So it's normally pretty good meals like chili, rice, curry, rice, fish, potatoes, whatever. Pretty basic, like normal shit, but all easy to fit into either a bulking or a cutting or whatever the fuck you want to do kind of plan. You can eat with the family, eat the same thing the family eat, and then if you plan the rest of your week around it, you can get leaner or you can get bigger, or you can stay the same. It's knowing the key variables, the calorie intake, protein intake, and then having a plan to achieve that with the week that is going to work for your schedule, not someone else's schedule, your schedule. What I present later might be fairly typical, but it might not work for you. That's fine. Don't use that plan. Use our plan. Come up with your own plan. Your environment has a material effect on your success. So if you find that maybe you work with your programmer or something, and maybe you don't work from home, maybe you work from the office, and you don't have food around you, you're gonna really struggle to get the calorie intake if you don't take action. If you don't have snacks at hand, you don't have protein sources at hand when you need them to stay on plan. So change your environment. Bring the food with you that you need to help you achieve the goal. Have the food in the house for when you need it. If you have to get a takeaway or you have to go out to go buy something, chances are you're going to not do it. So you need to set your environment up to reduce the friction, make you more likely to succeed. This is it in a nutshell. This whole slide is it in a nutshell. If you take the steps required to make sure that your environment and then that your week and your days make it easy to stay on plan, you will stay on plan. If you don't take the steps and you don't make it easy, you will not stay on plan. It's that simple. Remove the guesswork. Take it away. Do the prep. Do what's necessary. Do the work. Get it done. No fucking excuses. There's no point. You're gonna make excuses. We all make excuses, but they're waste time. I'm not gonna change it. Do the work. Get the results. Don't do the work. Don't get the results. Your choice. So the next thing we need to do, we need to create feedback loops. So scale weight, very easy, good to do. Some people, it's a psychological issue. It's a psychological barrier. So you can do it less. You can do it more. It's up to you. It's a data point. If you do it fairly regularly, so if you do 3 times a week, 3 times a week, daily, use and track the moving average. Do not The day-to-day is a data point. The moving average, the moving weekly average, or a moving 3-day average, or a 4-day average, or whatever the fuck you want to do, is what you track. Do not track the day-to-day, because it will fluctuate. You'll go up, you'll go down, stay the same. If you use that as your only point of feedback, you will not have an accurate representation of what's happening. If you have a 7-day moving average, you have more data, you are going to be more likely to be correct. Like some people will advise weighing in once a week, because they find if they weigh in every day, they get dragged away from the processes and they focus on the scale weight, and that's counterproductive. So if that's you, do that. Know yourself, know your psychology, have strategies that work for you. Not strategies that work for me, strategies that work for you. Check in pictures. You can if you want. You don't have to. They're just a good they're a good adjunction to like a scale weight. Your scale weight could stay the same for 2 weeks, but you could be gaining muscle and losing fat. It's possible. So if you take pictures, do them the same time of day, in the same room, with the same lighting, use the same poses. An easy way of doing it is just taking a video. You can do front relax, back relax, side on. You can do front double bi, back double bi, whatever the fuck you want to do. Keep it the same, and then you can compare them. 4 weeks apart, 8 weeks apart, 12 weeks apart, and it just gives you a good visual representation of what's happening. Track strength levels, essential if you want to gain size. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You don't have to do squats. You don't have to do deadlifts. You don't have to touch barbell. You can use machines. You can use dumbbells. You can body weight. Whatever the fuck it is, track your performance week to week. If you are seeing an increase in your strength levels, more reps, more weights, reductions in RPEs, maybe, you're gaining muscle mass because you're gaining strength. You're in a calorie surplus. You're eating enough protein. You're doing the training. You're getting stronger. You are gaining muscle. There's no fucking two ways about it. It's happening. Log your weights and know how you're feeling as well. So this is more just a general thing, but if you log your weights week to week, you're gonna have workouts where you fail to progress, or you maybe even regress. But next week you can progress from the week before, or 3 weeks time, or 4 weeks time. Just make sure you keep a weights log so you can look at that in picture. You are going to have bad workouts. Everyone has bad workouts. Everyone will always have bad workouts. It's the aggregate of your actions that matter, not the one-off actions. The bad workout, the bad diet day. It's the aggregate. It's not. It's the totality of your effort. It's not the one-off efforts that matter. And use these to help guide your process. So if you're failing to gain weight, if you're 4 weeks in and you have failed to gain weight, you are not eating enough calories. Simple as that. Justify it if you want. Doesn't fucking matter. You're not eating enough calories. Eat more calories. Simple. It's simple if you make it simple. If you make it complicated, you make excuses, you'll not get anywhere. So try and simplify it. Know what you're trying to achieve. Set out a plan to achieve it. Execute the plan. Make sure there's feedback loops that come back to the plan so that you're on track. Or if you are not on track, you can then intervene to bring yourself on track. Some important generalities I said with nutrition: try and make sure you get as much sleep as you can. If you're trying to get bigger, 7 to 10 hours of sleep, ideally. If you can only get 4, well, tough shit. Try and make them 4 good quality hours of sleep. But ideally, you want to be hitting minimum requirements or more. So 8 to 9 to 10 hours of good quality sleep. Ideally, if you can't achieve it, you can't achieve it. But try to make the sleep you get as good as possible, or try getting more if you can. Make sure you're doing a good job of staying hydrated. Just a good general thing. But an example: if you're not hydrated, your performance in the gym will be shit. and your progress will not be as good. Very simple thing, but not being hydrated can have a marked influence on your performance in the gym. You can, you're talking 30 to 50% reduction in reps, weights, whatever the fuck it is. You will feel it if you're not hydrated. So make sure you're hydrated. You should be looking to get stronger. Whatever way you train, it doesn't matter. Your muscle, your body does not give a fuck what it is, whether it's body weight, kettlebells, bands. It doesn't give a shit. Resistance is resistance. Just make sure you're progressing, getting stronger, using whatever protocols that you're using. So we're gonna put together the boring stuff and an example so you can kind of see how this is borne out. So we're gonna talk about our fictitious man. He's 178 centimeters in height, 72 kilos in body weight. He's 26 years of age. He has an office job, but he lifts weights 4 times a week. That gives him a Harris Benedict multiplier of 1.4. So his basic metabolic rate, if he was to be at bed rest for the whole week, he would need 1,760 calories to maintain his body mass. His projected maintenance, which of course is not accurate, it's just a starting point, is 2,464 calories. He's aiming for a 500 calorie surplus. Therefore, we have a target calorie range of 2,900 to 3,000. You don't have to set like an actual number. A range is totally fine. You can go above or below a certain bandwidth. Just try and be in the bandwidth. Protein, we're going for the top end because fuck it, why not? Body weight times 2.2, so we're aiming for 158 grams of protein a day. We need to make sure we're accounting for that in our calories. So 632 of our calories is for protein. That gives us 2,300 to 2,400 calories, which we will then make up with proteins and fats. If we go over the protein target, we're not worried. If we're under slightly, we're not too worried. We're just trying to come around those targets. So, if we come in, we eat 140 grams of protein a day, it's not really going to matter. If we eat 180 grams of protein a day, it's not really going to matter. We just want to make sure that we know what we're trying to achieve. We have a target, and then if we fluctuate within a standard, if we are within a margin of error 7 days a week of those targets, we will achieve our goals. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's not a case of if, we will. If we aren't consistently within a margin of error in those targets, so if we're aiming for 3,000 calories a day and we're eating 2,000, we're not going to gain mass. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing in the gym. You're not going to get bigger. If we aren't around our protein targets, we're still going to gain size. We're still going to gain muscle. We probably won't gain as much muscle as we could have done. We probably won't get as strong as fast as we could have done. We're just leaving progress on the table for no reason. So try and hit it. Daily structure. This is pretty based off wanting to eat every 2 to 3 hours. We have 3 main meals and 3 snacks. Snacks are just a scoop of whey with a bit of fruit, whey, milk, or whey and water, and a banana, or fucking apple, or kiwi, or whatever the fuck you want to eat. Doesn't matter. But a fruit's just easy. It has calories in it. It's nutritious. It's portable. Same with whey. It's easy. You can have a protein bar if you want. You can have yogurt if you want. You can eat a fucking rat if you want. Doesn't matter. Protein source. Snack. 3 of them. 3 main meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Easy to fit around life. Doing intermittent fasting. People are having lunch, like actually no, I'm fasting. Just pain in the ass. Or if you can just have lunch, just easier. So yeah, we have more protein, more calories for main meals, less protein, less calories for snacks. Nothing hugely innovative here. Nothing really that complicated. We can easily hit the target of 160 grams of protein. Easily. One scoop away is 25 grams of protein, 30 grams of protein. Call it 25. 3 snacks is 75. You're halfway there. Same again with your three meals. You're there. 150 calories, 150 grams of protein, easy. Calories, for the snacks, 300 calories, very easy to hit. Very easy to hit 300 calories in a snack. Talking about banana and one scoop away. That's 300 calories, 250, 300, easy. Three times a day, that's 1,000 calories. You only gotta make up 2,000 more. If you prep the shit, do it, you'll hit your targets easily. It's being prepared, having what you need available, and then doing it and making sure that you do it. That's how you're gonna achieve what you want to achieve. Week structure: Monday to Friday, very heterogeneous, with the same breakfast every day, Monday to Friday, because life is easy. Lunch, we either eat meal prep that we do on a Sunday, or we have leftovers from dinner. So this is typically what I would do. I just have leftovers of dinner from the night before with like rice or some shit, or wraps or whatever, just like a carb source to have more calories in it. Typically, if you eat like I do, you got protein at dinner, just make a bit more, put it to one side. There's lunch sorted, no bother. Snacks, the same, just for ease of life. Dinners, you can do whatever you want. You can just have normal family meals. You can go out for meals if you want. You can have takeaways if you want, and then just build in a bit of flexibility into social days. So typically the weekend for most people. So Saturday you might go out for breakfast. Maybe you have a big breakfast, so you don't need the snack. Maybe you have lunch out. Maybe you can have a snack if you want, dinner, or maybe you just have a takeaway with the family, or maybe you go out for a few beers and have a kebab, or whatever the fuck. Bit of flexibility so that you can have a normal life. You don't have to live like a fucking monk to do this shit. You can have a normal week, same as everybody else. You just plan. You have targets. You hit your targets. You have feedback loops that help you know that you're on target, or that if you're not on target, you can then adapt, and you make your environment, or you make your life frictionless for your habits, so that it's not, if you achieve your goals, it's inevitable, because you have a plan, executing your plan, your environment is built up towards your plan, and you have a feedback loop which keeps you on target. It's not, if you do this shit, it's not like, will I achieve what you want to achieve? You will achieve it. It's just a question of when. If you're good at this, if you get it right at the start and you stay on target, you achieve it faster. If you're a bit wayward to start with, or maybe you're a bit wayward in the middle, as long as you self-correct and have feedback processes within what you're doing, you will achieve your goal. It really is that simple. Do the work, get the result. Don't do the work, don't get the result. That's simple. Process. These are just your feedback loops. Again, we pretty much talked about this. Weigh in. You can do daily, bi-daily, or 2 times a week. Choose what works for you. Stick to it. Just know your own psychology. Know what's going to be helpful. Know what's not going to be helpful, and just go forward with that. Text, video for qualitative changes. Measurements you can do as well. It's another measure of qualitative change. If your waist is coming in and your chest is going out, but your body weight's maybe not going up, you can say you're getting leaner and getting bigger potentially. Just another measure, more qualitative measure, although it is a quantifiable measure. It's a bit more qualitative than just a body weight. Make sure you're keeping a note of the training log. Make sure that you get stronger within whatever the training program you're doing at the minute. Make sure you're improving within it. You're getting stronger session to session, week to week, and make sure that you review on a weekly or monthly basis, and if required, adapt the plan. Okay, so wrap it up. Gaining muscle is a drawn out process. Time doing the process beats all the time trying to speed it up or do it faster. the slow born approach applied over time will get results faster than you trying to rush it. One thing you can do people try and do to rush this process is to bulk and cut. So basically, eat like a pig, get fat, and then have to starve yourself. It's not conducive. Putting on muscle is a year-round process. You either anabolic, your body's either building muscle or it's not. So if you build muscle day to day, week to week, you have sufficient calories that your body has what it needs. You have sufficient protein that your body has what it needs, and you do it slow and steady. You will get way better results than trying to bulk cut, whatever, that sort of bullshit. That just encourages shitty dietary habits. So either overeating and then undereating cyclically. Bullshit. Just slow and steady. Slow and steady is the way to do it. If your scale weight is up, going up steadily, and you are getting stronger, you're putting on muscle. It's that simple. If the scale weight isn't moving up and you aren't getting stronger, you need to review your processes and inputs and change something to try and get to the point where the scale weight is going up. Your body weight is going up, or if your body weight isn't going up, but you can see changes in your check-in pictures, or you can see changes in your measurements, and you're getting stronger, you could be getting leaner and gaining muscle mass. You can even become lighter but gain muscle mass, depending on what the environment is. So just make sure that you have feedback loops. Keep yourself on track to make sure you track it. Okay, that's gonna conclude this talk. Hopefully, you find it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.